Hello everyone, we from Group 3 consist of Iksan Nurfauzi, Suhartini and Friska Maria Purnama are going to talk about phonetics.
What is phonetics? In this chapter, we will learn about phonetics. Phonetics in more detail. First, the meaning or the definition of phonetics. Phonetics is the general study of the characteristics of speech sound. Phonetics also about the physical aspect of the production and the perception of sounds. In phonetics exists phonetic alphabet. Phonetic alphabet is such a set of symbols that you produce a separate alphabet to represent sound. Next to the three main branches of phonetics, there are first articulatory phonetics, which is the study of how speech sounds are made or articulated. Second, acoustic phonetics, which deals the physical properties of speech as sound waves in the air and how the sound transmitted. And the last, auditory phonetics or perceptual phonetics, which deals with the perception, the ear, of speech sounds. Voiced and voiceless sounds. In phonetics, we can divide the sounds into two basic positions. There are, first, when vocal folds are spread apart, the air from the lung spaces between them unimpeded. Sounds produced in this way are described as voiceless, like sounds P, T, K, F, S, and etc. For example, in the words park, town, court. Second, when the vocal folds are drawn together, the air from the lungs repeatedly pushes them apart as it passes through, creating a vibration effect. Sounds produced in this way are described as voids, like sounds B, D, G, V, and Z. For example, in the words park, down, and court. The distinction can be felt physically if you place a fingertip gently on the top of your Adam's apple. Then produce sounds such as Z or V. Because these are voice sounds, you should be able to feel some vibration. Keeping your fingertip in the same position, now make the sounds S or F. Because these are voiceless sounds, there should be no vibration. Another trick is to put a finger in its ear, not to var, and produce the voice sounds such as Z or V to hear and feel some vibration, whereas no vibration will be heard or felt if you make voiceless sounds such as S or F in the same way.
Place of articulation. Place of articulation is the terms used to describe many sounds or those which denote the place of articulation of the sound. That is the location inside the mouth at which the constriction takes place. The first place of articulation is bilabial. Bilabial consonants occur when you block or constrict airflow out of the mouth by bringing your lips together. For example, p as in pain and clap, p as in bus and cap, m as in mat and clam. The second place of articulation is labiodental. Labiodental consonants occur when you block or constrict airflow by curling your lower lip back and raising it to touch your upper row of teeth. For example, f as in free and half, v as in vine and half. The third place of articulation is dental. Dental consonants occur when you block or constrict airflow by placing your tongue against your upper teeth. For example, th as in thin and path, z as in the and feather. The next of place articulation is alveolar. You create alveolar consonants when you raise your tongue to the alveolar ridge to block or constrict airflow. The alveolar ridge is where your teeth meet your gums. For example, n as in no and man, t as in tap and rat, d as in deep and bad, s as in sit and bus, z as in zit and jazz, l as in luck and fully. And then there is palatal. Palatal consonants are those that occur when the tongue blocks or constricts airflow at the hard part in the roof of the mouth behind the alveolar ridge. For example, sh as in shot and press, z as in vision and measure, ch as in cheek and match, ch as in jam and badge, y as in yes and bye. Next, there is velar. You make velar consonants when you raise the back of your tongue to the velum or the soft palate to block or restrict airflow. For example, as in going and uncle. Note that the N sound in this word is not made at the alveolar ridge, which is why it is distinct for n. K as in kill and back, g as in good and buck, v as in wet and Howard. And the last place of articulation is glottal. The glottis is the space between the vocal folds in the larynx. Inhale and then hold your breath for a few seconds while keeping your mouth open. What you are actually doing to keep the air from expelling out of your lungs by closing your glottis. For example, h as in have and house, and for my speakers as the first sound in who and whose.
After the previous explanation, we can summarize the basic information of the place of articulation in these charting consonant sounds. Minus V is voiceless sounds, and plus V is voiced sounds. Here is the way how to read the chart. First, mention the kind of sound, is it voiceless or voiced? Then, read the place of articulation, and the last, read the manner of articulation. The P sound is called voiceless bilabial stop, for example in the initial of the word put, pay, and pin. The B sound is called voiced bilabial stop, for example in the beginning of the word buy. The T sound is called voiceless alveolar stop from the word ten. The D sound is called voiced alveolar stop from the word dollar. The K sound is called voiceless velar stop, for example in the word kids. The G sound is called voiced velar stop from the word gun. The F sound is called voiceless labiodental fricative from, for example, in the word fun. The V sound is called voiced labiodental fricative, for example, in the word very. The Th sound is called voiceless dental fricatives, for example, in the word thin. The Th sound is called voiced dental fricatives, for example in the word then. The S sound is called voiceless alveolar fricatives, for example, in the word sit. The z sound is called voiced alveolar fricatives, for example, in the word zoo. The sh sound is called voiceless palatal fricatives, for example, in the word shape. The z sound is called voiced palatal fricatives, for example, in the word neither. The h sound is called voiceless glottal fricatives, for example, in the word hello. The ch sound is called voiceless palatal affricates, for example, in the word cheer. The j sound is called voiced palatal affricates, for example, in the word judge. The sound is called voiced bilabial nasals, for example, in the word more. The sound is called voiced alveolar nasals, for example, in the word no. The sound is called voiced velar nasals, for example, in the word going. The sound is called voiced alveolar liquids, for example, in the word red. The y sound is called voiceless palatal glide, for example, in the word yet. This chart contains the majority of consonant sound in the basic description of English pronunciation. In this case, International Phonetic Association produces the much more comprehensive chart. For example, the English g is sometimes used to represent the j sounds too, as in the word general. And then the letter C can be either k in carry or s in circle.
Manner of articulation. Manner of articulation refers to where the narrowing occurs. If we want to be able to differentiate between some sounds we place in the same category. The different manners of articulation. There are first, stops. This type of consonant sound resulting from a blocking or stopping effect on the air stream, like sound P, V, T, D, K, and G. For example, bed, bag, and cap. These words are begins and ends with voice stops. Fricatives. This type involves almost blocking the air stream and having the air push through the very narrow opening. As the air is pushed through, the type of friction is produced and the resulting sounds like sound F, S, V, Z, H, etc. Example in the words hi and hello. The sound H, as in hi or hello, is voiceless and also usually included in the set of fricatives. Affricates. This type combines a brief stopping of the air stream with an obstructed release which causes some friction, like sound S and G. Example of occur at the beginning of the words chip and chip. The word chip is a voiceless affricate, and in the second, the word chip is a voice affricate. Nasals. When the volume is lower and the airstream is allowed to follow out through the nose to produce sound M and sound N. Examples: morning, knitting, and name begin and end with nasals. Liquids. This type of form by letting the airstream flow around the sides of the tongue as the tip of the tongue makes contact with the middle of the alveolar ridge, like sound L and R. For example, let and red. 6. Glides. The sounds are typically produced with the tongue in motion to or from the position if a vowel and are sometimes called semivowels, like sound W and Y. For example, in the words we, wet, you, and yes. In the last, glottal stops and flaps. Glottal stops occur when the space between the vocal folds is closed incompletely, then released, whereas flaps, the sound is produced by the tongue tip tapping the alveolar ridge briefly.
Next, we are going to discuss about vowels. Vowel sounds are sounds that produced with a relatively free flow of air. Vowel sounds are produced when the air stream is voiced through the vibration of the vocal cords in the larynx and then shaped using the tongue and the lips to modify the overall shape of the mouth. When we think about the alphabet, we normally think of 5 vowels: A, I, U, E, and O. However, when it comes to pronunciation, there are single vowel sounds or monophthongs and 2 vowel sounds or diphthong. Vowels refers to the height of the tongue, the raised part of the tongue, and the lip positions. Based on the height of the tongue, there are 3 kinds of vowels. They are called closed, mid, and open vowels. Closed vowels are produced when the position of the tongue is quite high in the mouth. Open vowels are produced when the tongue is low in the mouth. Mid vowels are produced when the tongue is neither high nor low in the mouth. Based on the raised part of the tongue, there are 3 kinds of vowels. They are front, central, and back vowels. Vowels are classified into front vowels when the tongue is positioned as far in front as possible in the mouth. Vowels are classified into central vowels when the tongue is positioned halfway between front vowels and back vowels. And the last, vowels are classified into back vowels when the tongue is positioned as far back as possible in the mouth. To pronounce vowel sounds, the space inside our mouth is having a front versus a back and a high versus a low area. The table below contains how to pronounce each vowels. E, U, and U. The shape of mouth when pronouncing these vowels is almost closed. However, to pronounce these vowels, A, O, and O, the mouth is almost wide open. The sound on the left side, the tongue is near the front teeth. And the sound on the right side, the tongue is moved back. For example, E as in beef, key, and need. E as in hit, sit, and if. U as in to, food, and who. U as in move, put, and look. The next, A as in get, when, and well. As in about, could, and would. As in her, work, and word. O as in or, more, and call. O as in have, that, and can. As in but, run, and one. As in start, large, and after. O as in on, from, and not. Another kind of vowels is diphthongs. Diphthong is a sound that consists of a combination of two vowel sounds. The first sound in each phoneme is longer and louder than the second sound. There are two kinds of diphthongs. The first one is centering diphthongs, and the second one is closing diphthongs. Centering diphthong is a diphthong that ends with glide towards a. It's called centering because a is a central vowel. The sounds are ear, as in the word peer, fear, and hear. Ue, as in sure, tour, and obscure. E, as in where, chair, and there. Closing diphthong is a diphthong that ends with a glide towards e or towards u. The sounds are a, as in the word cake, way, and say. Oi, as in toy, enjoy, and boy. I, as in I, shy, and buy. O, as in go, snow, and home. And the last, O, as in house, loud, and down. Thank you.